On the eve of the Super Bowl Sunday, the United States decided to halt avocado imports, taking effect February 11th. Although it only specifically paused the imports of the state of Michoacan, Mexico, it's the only state approved to export avocados to the United States. The U.S. claimed that the action was prompted by a safety concern regarding a U.S. employee in an area with high crime rates. Although the threat was not specified, it's understood that the situation stemmed from a verbal threat through a text. However, Mexico began to doubt the true reasons behind a drastic measure for an almost everyday occurrence. Lopez Obrador suggested the pause was politically motivated due to Mexico's non-conforming attitude toward environmental clauses in their trade agreements. Regardless of the rationale, the pause will likely exacerbate rising prices. On February 3rd of 2021, a 20-pound of avocados would cost $6.29. Surprisingly, the price has risen above $26.30 this February 3rd. Not only is this going to increase prices, but will sharply reduce availability and cause worry for meeting demand standards. Also, the U.S. gets 80% of its avocados from Mexico, so therefore, in both countries, it's in both countries' best interest to resolve the issue of safety within Mexico and attempt to mend discourse and resume shipments. Mr. Ernst of the International Crisis Group explained that if you take away their livelihoods, you play into the hands of the criminal groups. Several farmers depend tremendously on this market since it's highly demanded. Therefore, losing a demand for a large industry will leave several farmers to have to turn to other sources of income. This can often lead to obtaining unethical income in which several are forced into due to this ban. Crime and cartel activity is already high due to this. Therefore, the quicker the conflict is resolved, the quicker that alternate solutions and preventions do not have to be considered.
Quit laughing, please.
Alright, good evening, America. The PRI has maintained its position through its strict monitoring of the media. A clientele system brought journalists who looked favorably on the PRI into the spotlight, while limiting the viewership of journalists writing of the disparity occurring in the nation. While the state-owned television sites have sold to private companies, the state control on media is still strong. The press conference which is held daily has been a source of legitimacy for the current president. Obrador has currently many of his own fact-checking sites, such as Verificado, so it's led to independent media companies to counter this form of propaganda. The fact-checking media has increased dramatically with the current president, but even with the sexennial policy, it's likely this form of media has gained too much popularity for it to diminish. While the media is one of the most important ways politicians in the bicameral legislature can be elected for the whole of Mexico through multi-member districts, it is also a source used by specific politicians to gain support, even if it is by propaganda.
Excuse me, we're on air right now.
Like most countries, Mexico is divided into a rural and urban class based on income and education level. Rural poverty continues to become more and more widespread due to the large percentage of the population that is rural. 66% of Mexican citizens living in the urban population have a job that pays minimum wage or higher, compared to the mere 47% of citizens in the rural population. Rural citizens continue to face injustice over unfair wages as well. In this sense, there is a lot of similarities between Mexico and China. China has a large pool of migrant labor. Many earn less than 1,000 yuan a year, $157.76 in US dollars. Rural residents have an average income of 5,900 yuan a year, which is $898. This is less than a third of the average per capita disposable income of urban residents, which stood at 19,100 yuan, $2,900. China and Mexico differ in that the majority of the Mexican population is rural, while China's population is split about 50-50. Specifically, 50.3% of China's population, which is 647.15 million, is rural. Okay.
Mexico supplies about 45% of the international avocado market, and almost 92% of the country's production is in the state of Michoacan. But recently, the United States suspended the exports of avocados in Mexico to the U.S. This is due to the U.S. plant safety inspector to Mexico receiving threats in the form of text messages from cartel members. This ban will affect the Mexican economy greatly, and it will affect avocado farmers even more. I interviewed an anonymous avocado farmer.
How are you feeling about the interview? Are you nervous?
Yeah.
What about you? What about you?
Very. Have warring cartels affected your occupation as an avocado farmer?
They have hurt them badly.
Before the export ban of avocados to the U.S., how much money were you making?
Millions. I was very comfortable.
What do you think the Mexican government should do to convince the U.S. to lift the ban on exports of avocados?
Have them taste our delicious avocados. And they'll see what they're missing.
It was good interviewing you. We're just gonna act like he was an avocado farmer. Really, I feel like he may have been like a delusional hobo. Because avocado farmers, they don't make millions, so I mean, I guess he is a consumer of avocados, and they are pretty good. Hey,